How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the M2 Motor YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today's a interesting day. So Steve and I made a very irresponsible purchase about a year ago, and it's finally here. Something that I haven't really shared on social media, but a few people know about it. So I wanted to share that with you in today's video. But before I get into that, if you could do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Also doing the 1,000 subscriber merch giveaway. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna give away some merch. All you gotta do is subscribe to this channel and follow our social on Instagram and Facebook, and the links are in the description below. That's all you gotta do. Also, leave some comments down below on some of the content you'd like to see or any feedback. Definitely do appreciate everybody giving feedback, whether it's via DM or here on the video. Thank you. I also want to give a huge shout out to all the new subscribers and current subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Definitely gives me more motivation, and Steve, to keep bringing you content. So I'm going to just jump right in and show you this purchase that we did. This is a Honda S2000, sort of. Obviously it's not a complete car, but this is a project that Steve and I picked up a little over a year ago. So before I talk about the history and how we ended up with this car, I'm gonna go ahead and just walk around and show you some of what it is. So for any of you new to the car world, this is a fully race prep chassis. Cage, stitch welded, has a lot of plating and gusseting work done. And as you can see, the rear floor pan was cut out and prepped for making space for a fuel cell and all that good stuff. This car is gonna require a lot of time and work, obviously. I look forward to working on it, but yeah, a lot of work. So starting off with the engine bay, if you look at it, the entire chassis is stitch welded. A lot of reinforcements done, boxing, plating for the rigidity. As you can see, this isn't the factory upper rail. This has all been redone and replaced, along with a box section there. So lots of cool stuff. You can see stitch welding runs throughout the entire chassis. Has a lot of cool plates and plating, all that good stuff. So yeah, lots of fabrication work done. This car is very, very light. Obviously this is just a rolling shell. Once everything back in is going to weigh more. But yeah, let me go ahead and get right into what the plan is. So the plan for this car is obviously to finish the project. It is set up as a track vehicle, so we're going to finish it as such. In terms of the exact powertrain or drivetrain and everything that we're going to run, we haven't decided yet. There are about 3 options on the table that we're looking at. It just purely depends on, one, cost, 2, as you know, in the current state of the world we live in, sourcing everything for a reasonable price, or if we can even get it. In terms of the body, it's not going to be obviously stock. Haven't fully decided what I'm going to run yet, but I have a very solid idea on the game plan. And then from there it's sorting out the suspension, the brakes, the wheel setup, tires. That's pretty straightforward. We work with a couple companies, and every company I've shown this to, they're all very interested in seeing this car done. Obviously, costs are a factor. We're going to be paying for a lot of the parts on this car. This is one of those projects that, you know, it's for us. And yeah, some of the fabrication work still has to be redone. I'll go over that in a future video and also go through the details of every little part of the car. So I look forward to sharing that with you. But yeah, there's a lot going on with this car. Still, you know, obviously you need some interior. I don't know if you saw it in the earlier shots. There's fortunately doors and a trunk lid. So that, at least I have at least that. There's a couple boxes of miscellaneous items. Haven't gone through it. But yeah, that's pretty much the game plan right now, is to start collecting parts. Now, the history of the car is interesting. So this car has been around the Southern California car scene for a good minute now. Joey Lee from the Chronicles, if you're a big Honda fanatic, you'll know who I'm talking about, covered this car back in 2010 through 2012, somewhere around that time frame. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'll leave a link to the article in the description below so you can take a look at it. So one of his friends was a person by the name of Louis from a company called Elcon. Did a lot of custom fabrication work. This is the product of Louis' work. So the original owner contracted Louis to build the cage, do the stitch work, do the chassis, all the chassis fabrication. That was all done. And then from there, from my understanding, it was supposed to go to an engine shop that never got the car done. This is the story that I'm told from previous, just stitching together people who know about this car and what it's doing and where it's been. So if I'm wrong, I apologize, but this is from my understanding. So as you know, sometimes there's a lot of businesses out there that aren't the greatest to deal with, and so Louis did his part. All the fab work's done, off to the engine shop it goes. Originally, this car, my understanding, was planned to have a supercharged LS3 swap in it, which is pretty insane for a car of this size and weight, but that was the plan, and the shop was supposed to do it. Car was sent to the shop, as a lot of shops do. They give you a timeline and all that, and the shop did the same. 3 months became 6 became a year, and then to my understanding, that shop went out of business or something, or there was some kind of fallout. So the owner lost interest in this car. So the car was, to my understanding, the car traded hands a few times. I'm not sure how many people have owned it. I would guess, including the person that I purchased it from, guessing about 4. So traded hands a few times. I've seen people post on social media about it. Went down the rabbit hole of Instagram and Facebook and tried to, figure out this car's, I guess, path to where it's at now. Old friend of mine from the car scene, Jose, actually has owned this car for quite a while, and he sold it to me. The story on that is, I have a very good friend named Peter, and he's a very bad influence. If you've seen me post on social media, some of the really higher end cars that we've worked on, they've been Peter's cars. He's done really well at life. I'm super happy for him and his family and all the success that they've had. They're a great friend. He's a great friend, same as great friend, and Teresa, his wife Teresa, and his kids I see as my nieces and nephew. So they're family to me. But he's a very, very bad influence sometimes. This is the result. That's one of them. The long story short is, one day we're group chatting, and I think Steve or Peter goes, "Hey, check this out. Jose," which is an old friend of ours, he's selling this S2. And I was like, "Oh, cool." Click the link, open it up, and I was like, "Huh. I remember this car." And Peter's like, "Oh, are you interested in it?" And I was like, "Yeah, mildly." gonna take a lot of time and money to put this thing back together the way it should be done. And you know, Peter's like, oh man, you know, if anybody can put this car together the right way, it's you and Steve, flat out. Like, I don't see anybody else doing this car the justice it deserves or using it to its potential, but you guys can, and you guys have the know-how. So I'm like, all right, you know, jokingly messaged Jose, and just to give you a quick brief rundown is Jose owns a used car dealership in Southern California, and he's been very successful over the years, especially the last year. And he has a newer Civic Type R that he tracks with, and this was supposed to be his track build, and he's fallen in love with that car. And as you know, when you run a car dealership, your cash flow has to always remain positive. To take any of it out, even from your personal funds or from the business to fund this, isn't the most smart idea. So this became a car that was just sitting and stored for years. He's never gotten around to it. So one day he posts it up for sale. A bunch of people hit him up, always. Oh man, I want the car. I want it, but it's just a matter of who actually truly does have the money to buy it, one, and then two, have the money to complete it. So I believe there were 2 actual serious buyers that left deposits prior to myself putting in for it. First person buys, leaves deposit, asks for it back, says never mind, I can't afford it. Second person buys it, I believe has, from what Jose told me, has the money for it, but the significant other got in the way and said, you are not buying that, go get your deposit back. So that bailed, and Jose promised it to me. He said if that guy bailed, you know, it's yours. So fortunately, the stars aligned, everything worked out. He got back to me and said, hey, if you want it, it's yours. He had an original asking price. I negotiated a little bit. I wouldn't say I lowballed him or anything. It's an old friend. I don't do that. You know, I just don't lowball people unless it's not really that great of a deal to begin with. But for what we paid, I'm happy with this purchase. So yeah, Jose is the 3rd or 4th owner since the original owner that started the project has had it, and it's just been trading hands. In the original pictures or in the Joe's article, you'll see that this car was bare metal. Now it has sealant paint sprayed all over it just so it prevents rust, because this car was stored in a race trailer for a few years. So no big deal with that. That can be sanded down and, you know, prepped. Obviously needs to be completely re-prepped for paint, which is later on. But yeah, thank you to Jose for this deal of a car. Can't wait to get started on it. A lot planned, which I'll cover in upcoming videos. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. The car has been stored over at Steve's grandma's garage for the past year and some change. Thank you to Grandma for letting us steal the garage space to park it. But it's here now, and in the coming months our plan is to start collecting parts and getting more data and speaking with other S2000 owners we know to figure out what, you know, which path would be the best for the drivetrain and so forth, and figure out, you know, realistically how much is this going to cost and how much is this going to hurt. But I look forward to getting this done and enjoying it. So that pretty much concludes today's intro episode to the very bad financial decision that Steve and I have made and the path to making it even worse. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.